gonna need somebody to lean on me when you're not strong. I'll be your friend, I'll help you carry on, and you know it won't be long. We're all gonna need somebody to lean on. All right. So, are we ready to lean?
Good morning.
We're glad to be here, please.
Thank you, Don. Good morning, everyone. Oh, yeah, well, I can take applause. That's all right. Yeah, keep it coming. Good morning, everyone. My name is Reverend Ken Wilcox. This is the Center for Spiritual Living of St. Augustine. You're very welcome to be here this morning. We're kind of an odd spiritual community because we have no dogma. We don't tell you what you have to believe. We know you've got the intelligence enough to come to a God of your understanding and to use the principles of affirmative prayer, meditation, and gratitude to enrich your life. And to make that happen, I always ask you to do one simple thing each Sunday morning, and that's to leave all your would'ves, could'ves, should'ves, leave that stuff outside, and for the next 45 minutes or so, to open up an avenue of spirit possibilities. And what are spirit possibilities? Well, they're for more love, more joy, more happiness, more air conditioning, all those things in life that make us feel alive, that make us feel good, because that's what Spirit is doing through you and through me, showing up in the physical, recognizing itself through our joy, our love, and our happiness. So know you're in a great place this morning, and Spirit is going to recognize and reward you abundantly. Well, it's Father's Day today, so we want to honor all fathers. If you're a dad, please stand up so we can give you a round of applause. Thank you so much. Well, just a couple of announcements before we get going. The first one is Swamini's class. That's on Thursdays at 10:30. You can still join that. That's a wonderful class. The second one is we have a workshop that's going to be going on after service today, and we have the lovely Elaine Malloy hosting it. Elaine, come on up and tell us all about it.
So hi, everybody. I'm Elaine Malloy, and some of you know me, some of you don't. I've been here for a while, and I'm a medical intuitive and a healing guide. And so the class I'm teaching this afternoon at 12 noon is based on helping people to release their blocks to self-love. So I have a system to do that using charts to help you release stuck emotions, stuck beliefs, stuck energy. We bust through that, and then I do a healing transmission and channeled messages. So I'd love to have you at my class. It's at 12 noon, and that's it. Please come along.
Thank you, Elaine. That accent alone should be enough to get you there. Yeah. Now, Elaine is doing this for a love donation, so you just have to come and what you feel, how you want to love her, and her message is all she's asking, so it's a wonderful gift. Well, those are all on my announcements. So, Don, I know you got some great music for us.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, Don.
This is when you weren't here. We're going to do this again. There's a Charlie Chaplin song. Smile though your heart is aching. Smile even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you get by. If you smile through your fear and sorrow, smile, and maybe tomorrow you'll see the sun come shining through for you. Light up your face with gladness, hide every trace of sadness. Although a tear maybe ever so near. That's the time you must keep on trying. Smile, what's the use of crying? You'll find that life is still worthwhile if you just smile. Hey, smile, though your heart is aching. Smile, even though it's breaking. When there are doubts in the sky, you'll get by if you smile. Through your fear and sorrow, smile, and maybe tomorrow you'll see the sun come shining through for you. So light up your face with gladness, hide every trace of sadness. Although a tear may be ever so near, that's the time you must keep on trying. Smile, what's the use of crying? You'll find that life is still worthwhile as long as you just smile.
That's excellent. I love that. So we're going to get our service going with the reading and treatment. We got the wonderful Jim Saul coming up to do it. Come on up, Jim.
Put his little hat back on. Besides prayer and meditation and gardening, one of my other spiritual practices is writing, journaling usually. And often when I journal, I begin with a question. I find a question that either I or maybe somebody I know might ask, and then I just write. And this is one of those instances where I've asked the question. And the question is this: is the phrase, "he made his transition," just another fancy way of saying he died? And the answer that I came up with was no, it's not the same. And here's why. The word death feels to me like an ending, no longer to exist in any form, ceasing to be. And I do not believe that that is what happens when we die. Transition, on the other hand, means to change from one state or condition to another. For example, he made his transition from high school to college with ease. Okay? See the difference? I mean, it's a big difference. So in this philosophy, we almost always use the term transition instead of dying. In religious science, we do not believe in an external heaven or hell. For me, I believe we make our heaven or hell right here on earth each day, and I do not know of what the afterlife might be like, so I can't comment on that. But I do believe we create our world by our thoughts and our beliefs, which means I can live in heaven in the same neighborhood as you live in hell. Okay? We create our experience. As for transitioning, I believe we are composed of two parts in the physical world. We are the body, which will die, and it will feed the worms in the dust. In that sense, we do reincarnate, as all things do. We return our bodies to the earth to be reused. This is the recycling of all living things. Yet, we must realize we are also our consciousness or spirit, which is eternal, which is a part of this oneness with the divine intelligence that is omnipresent. It is everywhere and is in and through all things, and we are also that which is eternal. I believe this creator of all things is smart. That sounds silly, but I believe this creator is really smart. It creates butterflies and universes, so it's got to be really smart. But I lost my place. I believe this creator is really smart. And I do not believe it would have us struggle to learn all we do, only to toss it all into some cosmic trash pile. I believe there is a purpose to life. I believe it has great value. We learn about living and the act of creating our own personal world, sometimes I call it Eden, in which we live. We learn to be creators also, just like our Creator. So let's build a beautiful one. So this week, try to consider what is most valuable to that eternal self. What can you take with you? Maybe wisdom, learned compassion, how to love, and how to create for yourself a beautiful life. These are some of the things that come to my mind when I realize I am an eternal being learning to be eternal. And so it is. Thank you. So let's take that and go into the morning prayer. Take a deep breath, close your eyes, and just know with me that there is one divine intelligence which loves us unconditionally, is always by our side, within and without. And it is here now, today, to guide us and teach us and show us a better way of living in joy and beauty and love and compassion. This is a divine intelligence that does give us an experience of itself. It is here in intuition and inspiration and all those things that kind of tap us on the shoulder and guide us. So I give thanks for that divine intelligence, for it is smart. I give thanks for this center, for it is a beautiful place to come. I give thanks for Ken's talk, and I know it will be beautiful. And I give thanks for each and every person here. And I can release this prayer to be so simply and easily by saying, and so it is. Thank you.
So with it being Father's Day, it's kind of a nice opportunity, especially when you compare it with Mother's Day, to talk about two principles of ours that are really the groundwork of our teaching, and that is love and law. Love and law. You can use love for Mother's Day, law for Father's Day, and that's what I'm going to do. Dr. Holmes, the founder of our teaching, he said, love is the impulse of creation. Law is the way things work, the way they work. Love is the dynamic force. It animates the universe. It's the creative impulse. It brings things to life. It's boundless love. People who've had near-death experiences say that when they are in spirit, They feel loved every part of themselves, even those parts they were embarrassed to own up to. They felt love. Emma Curtis Hopkins, she was one of our early teachers. She was considered the teacher of teachers. And she says, love is the royal law of life. She says, if you follow love, you cannot go astray. And the first requirement to love is to love yourself. To love yourself. Until you love yourself, you cannot really love unselfishly or generously. Because until you love yourself, you're always hoping that you will find someone who will love you enough that you can love yourself. And that's a losing proposition. It just doesn't work that way. Now, parental love, when it's done correctly, is totally unselfish. I heard a very wise person say one time, if people knew how difficult it was to raise a child, no one would do it. And for me, the toughest part is to have the courage to send that child out in the world to explore their hopes and dreams when you know what the world does to young hopes and dreams. That takes a lot of courage. Parental love is about being the beacon of support and warmth, and it drives people to make real sacrifices. When I was in Atlanta working for the PR firm, I had a friend, and he had got on working for the Atlanta Olympic Committee. This was the committee that was organizing Atlanta to bring the Olympics there. And I took him out to lunch one day, and he just looked dreadful. And I asked him, Carlos, what's going on? And he says, well, Ken, he says, I'm working with this committee. He says, our first meetings they schedule at 6 o'clock in the morning. He said they even will have meetings as late as 8 and 9 o'clock. He says, to wrap up the day, I'm often at my desk to 11 to 12. He says, then I go home. And he says, at home, me and my wife have had a new baby, and this baby has some issues. She says, my wife spends all day with her, and in the evening, I tell my wife to go get sleep, and I sit up in the lazy boy in the nursery and catnap through the night away, watching over her. And I said, Carlos, how can you keep up doing this? And he says, I'll do it because I have to. It's what's required of me. Well, that's parental love. Love can inspire us to step up in ways we never thought possible, to become more of ourselves than we ever imagined. It's the impulse to the universe. And it's a way, and the way it works through the law. We need both of them. You need love and law. And you can't ignore the law. Law is the way things work, and no matter how desperate or needy we become, we still have to pay attention and observe the law. This past week, I had a dream, and I remembered a song from my early childhood, and I had not thought of this song in maybe 50 years. It was Alone Again Naturally by Gilbert O'Sullivan. It was a hit in 1971. Now, if you haven't heard it lately, he repeats the refrain, Alone Again Naturally. He starts off by telling about how he's been left at the altar, and all his friends feeling so badly for him. And then he goes into this litany of horrible things that have happened to him. His mother had a husband for 50 years, the only person she loved, and he died, and how sad she was. Now, of course, we're sad when people leave us, but there's two ways to looking at things. You can be sad that somebody left you, or you could be sad and grateful that you had a love for 50 years. He goes on and on talking about his sadness and about how alone he is. Naturally, he's alone. He's boo-hooing about all his troubles. The only people he's going to attract are more depressed people who's going to sink him further in depression. He's better to sing a happy song and to encourage people who will then encourage him to get a better life. That's the law. That's the way life works, and no matter how sad it is, it's the way it works. We have to recognize it. Now, depression is a real thing. We want to handle depression, but we also want to make sure that we've got a happy attitude that's attracting people that are going to encourage us to love. We need to appreciate love in our lives, but understand also there's this law, the way things work. When I was a younger person, I had several friends that had children, and one of them, she had this very misguided idea that all children needed was love. That's all they needed. And she had made her mind up that she would never say the word no to her child before he was 6 years old. No was too harsh of a word, and she didn't want him to have that negativity. Well, unfortunately, she did it, and when the little kid went off to school, he never could adjust. He had a really tough time. It was not a loving thing to do. We need in a loving an environment to learn the lessons of life, to learn the lessons of law in a compassionate environment. Because when we go out into the world will teach us those lessons in a harsh and uncompassionate way. Ralph Waldo Emerson, he said the law of cause and effect is inescapable. The universal law teaches us about responsibility, consequences, and the importance of integrity. To do the right thing even when we're not feeling like it. So, I had this bronchitis thing, and everyone, the doctor, all my friends have been, take it easy. You gotta slow down. You can't push yourself. And what have I been doing? I've been pushing myself. The other day I came into work. I'd gotten a couple of things done. I needed a thing for my computer, so I went to the computer store. The first guy didn't have a clue what I was talking about. He said, well, try the other store. They sell apples. They might have something for you. I went and tried that one. They didn't have what I needed. I was there at Aldi's, so I thought, well, I'll go into Aldi's and get dinner at least. I won't have wasted all my time. I go into Aldi's, I'm walking around, a guy passes me and he's got a Labrador Retriever. It's an emotional support dog. And I thought, how nice. He walks on past me, and as I'm turning the corner, I stepped on something, and I thought it was a cell phone. That's what it kind of felt like. I looked down, and it's a dog collar. And I realized it has to be from this dog. So I began thinking of all my responses. Should I just leave it there? Maybe he'll come find it. Should I take it to the manager? And then I was like, well, maybe he won't even realize he's lost it, and he may lose it permanently. Finally, I decided, well, I need to take this, and I need to go look for him. And as I went on my mission, I had the second thought, I'm taking something to a person who needs an emotional support dog, and it might be he needs an emotional support dog from people approaching him at a grocery store. So how am I going to be received? And I get close to him, and I've got the collar way out. I'm jingling the collar to him, and he sees it. He realizes what it is, and he was so grateful for it. He was like, you cannot believe how difficult Florida makes getting these tags. He said, if I lost this tag, it could have caused me lots of problems. Law was the discipline in me to do the right thing. Love was the energy to make sure this man doesn't lose his support and comfort. And love, maybe, from our interaction, helps him to lessen some of his anxiety. Maybe it will be more evidence for him to realize the world can be a friendly place, supportive place. Maybe that interaction will help him overcome some of his fears. The law provides boundaries so that love can flourish. It's through understanding and applying these laws that we can navigate the complexity of life and make a sense of order. And interestingly enough, the scientists tell us that the universe is a place of order. It's just not some random mishap. And this order can be expressed in mathematical principles. They say math elegantly describes the universe. Einstein wondered, was math something we had invented or something we had discovered, something that was innate in the creation of the universe? Now, there are several mathematical formulas that remain constant in the universe. One of them is the Fibonacci sequence. It was discovered by Leonardo of Pisa in 1202. His book was called The Book of Calculations, and it introduced the Hindu-Arabic numeral system to Europe. Before that time, they were human Roman numbers. Roman numbers. We would have never been able to invent the computer using Roman numbers. Can you imagine? XXIIV? Forget it. We needed that. This equation, the Fibonacci ratio, can be observed all through creation. The arrangement of leaves, flowers, seeds, the growth pattern of shells, hurricanes, and even galaxies. It's in our own bodies. The ratio between the shoulder to the elbow to the hand to the fingers all follow the Fibonacci ratio. And this idea that our reality can be explained by numbers is the basis of most of our scientific understanding when it comes to understanding the universe. Scientists say there are 20 numbers that appear over and over again through the universe. The speed of light, the strength of gravity, the electrical magnetic force. These are constants, and they show up over and over again. And if any one of them was just a little bit off, life would not be possible. Another amazing guy was Pythagoras. You might remember him from some of your high school math courses. He lived in 495 BC. He had revolutionary ideas. One of them, he believed in the equality of the sexes. He demanded that women be allowed to be in his math classes. He also believed the earth was round. He's the first person we know to state that. He believed that that numbers were a divine essence, that there's two levels of creation. There's the physical universe, and then there's an underlying mathematical structure. And he said, of everything in the physical, there is a vibration. And we know this to be true. Scientists tell us now that at the core of every atom, there are strings that are vibrating. The vibration of these strings determine if you're going to get sugar or if you get sand. Pythagoras also said there was that the planets themselves were vibrating with music. He said math and music are the same thing. There's a song that we need to sing. There's a song in your heart and soul that only you have come, and it's yours to sing out. The universe is not random, and neither is our lives. There's a pattern to creation. It's ours to discover. And sometimes this happens to me when I'm writing a talk. I'll be working on a talk for a couple of days. All of a sudden, I will add a certain piece to it, and it will be like the structure comes to full. It's like you put it in a jigsaw puzzle, and the last piece, and all of a sudden you can see the picture. It was if there was a design there all along, one that I had not created, one for me to discover. And when we go with this pattern, we can create so much easy. When we work against it, we'll have problem after problem. A couple of months ago, we were working with the Venus Manley Scholarship. We wanted to have a fundraiser here. We wanted to sell tickets online. People do that all the time. It seemed like such an easy thing to do. We actually had a company we were paying to do it, and it was nothing but one problem after another. We never could get it to work. Finally, we just decided to move on to something more productive. James Allen, he says, the law is that what you give out, you're going to receive. The soul that's full of love shall receive love and return. And if you're not getting in one area, look for other areas that you can give love. Look for other areas if you can get success. My teacher, Kennedy Schultz, he was teaching a class on love one time, and this woman stood up and she said, I don't have any love in my life. I look for it, but I don't have it. And he told her, he says, well, why don't you get a dog? And she said, oh, a dog. You got to walk them. You got to brush them. They smell up the house. He said, get a cat. Oh, a cat. There's the litter box. They scratch the furniture. You never know when they're going to bite you. He said, get a plant. Oh, I am no good with plants. I kill every one that I get. He looked at her and he said, get a cactus. In other words, get something to love. Get something. And when you put out love, you will find more loving flowing through you. We're difficult. We limit the way for God to bring us love. But God has the whole universe to rain down love on you. Now, today we're talking about a specific form of love, Father's Day. And we all deserve to have a loving and supporting father. And some of us get that, and we should be so grateful that we have that in our lives. But unfortunately, others don't have that. And it can be a lot to overcome. It can take a lifetime to overcome that. I heard an amazing story about Tina Turner. Now, this wasn't about her dad, but it was about her mom. She said her mom never liked her. She said she never liked her. She said she liked the things her fame brought her, the big house, the Mercedes-Benz, the pool in the backyard, but she said she never liked her. I didn't get that kind of love and support. My dad, he just didn't have it in him. He was a kid of the Depression, raised by an unkindly stepmother and shipped off to war. It took me a long time to have compassion for him, to realize what it must have been like for him, raised in Wilcox County, Georgia. Yes, there is such a place. You don't want to go there. On a farm, he probably never traveled more than 10 miles from his house. Never been on a train. When he got drafted, he was shipped across to the West Coast. He had never seen the ocean, put on a transport boat to be on for weeks to get to Okinawa. He must have felt like he had been kidnapped by aliens. He probably had no way to deal with it. So he had wounds. Now, here's a funny thing about him, not funny, ha-ha, but funny like when you hit your funny bone. In his life, he was beloved by coworkers. He was loved by associates. He was loved by relatives. But for his intimate family, he just didn't have it to give. So after years of thinking about it and dealing with it, I've come to the place where I have compassion for him. And I send him love. He's been in spirit for a long time now. I send him love and hope that the love I send him will allow him to create more love in his life. Now, if you were lucky to have a dad that was compassionate and kind and supportive, send gratitude to them. Call them, send them a card. If they're in spirit, just take a moment and send them gratitude. Remember times with them. And let them know how appreciative you are that he was in your life. And let him know and let the universe know that you're going to take the love and support he gave you and you're going to amplify it. And you're going to go out and you're going to make a better life. You're going to make the world a better place, and he's the cause of it. And if you didn't have that kind of love, send gratitude anyway. And make a promise to the universe that you're going to take the little bit you got and you're going to make the most of it. This is what the example of the Eucharist, when they take bread and wine and they make it into body and blood, this thing that was no thing can become something, and it can change the world. Now, my poor dad, he had a tremendous heart attack when I was 3. It became a family joke that he had promised to make me into a slick-back hair Church of God minister if God saved his life. I don't think either he or God knew what kind of deal they were making. Now, when he recovered, he went looking for comfort in religion. What he found was hellfire and damnation, and it terrified him to his core, but he stuck with it, and it didn't do him or any of the rest of us any good. But in a strange way, even though I fought it tooth and nail, I think by me becoming a minister, that I'm become the minister he was looking for. And perhaps my teaching of compassion and kindness is helping him on his journey. Who knows if Tina Turner had received the love she deserved from her mom, would she have been created the drive to become the tremendous entertainer she became? Would she have been able to help and heal the millions of fans who loved her and were inspired by her and were able to pull strength from her words and energy and to go about their lives? When we step out in love, when we are dedicated to do the right thing, to follow the law, to step up and step out and give love and support and encouragement, even when we don't have it for ourselves, we're going to find the support we need. We're going to find the universe is going to make a way out of no way. And we're going to see new horizons, new path, new opportunity. Spirit will rain down blessings on us and create the new heaven and new earth in our lifetime. It is the promise of creation, and we have a right to expect it of Spirit. When we do our part, we are a people of the covenant. When we do our part, when we step out in love, when we step out in courage, when we go out into the world and do the right thing, Spirit is going to be there with us, supporting and guiding us every step of the way, and our home is assured. A new heaven, a new earth, a new Jerusalem. It's where we're headed, and we're not turning back. It's the truth in your life this morning. It's the truth in mine, and so it is. Thank you. Thank you. All right, Don, come on up. Thank you, Don.
Mm-hmm. I think we're in D. Nate, is that right? Well, speaking of love. That kind of love just makes me happy. That kind of love just gets me through. The kind of love I only get from you. When I feel it deep inside me, I know there's nothing I can't do. And that's the kind of love I get from you. You are the answer to what's ever troubling me. In time of anger, it's as though my heart were locked, but you got the key. That kind of love just makes me happy. That kind of love just gets me through. The kind of love I only get from you. And when I feel it deep inside me, I know there's nothing I can't do. And that's the kind of love I get from you. I thought I was abandoned and had somehow lost my way. Empty, hardened-handed, then you filled me with your love. And I gotta say, that kind of love just makes me happy. That kind of love just gets me through. The kind of love I only get from you. And when I feel it deep inside me, I know there's nothing I can't do. And that's the kind of love I get from you. 'Cause you are the sunlight brightens up my day. And when the day is done, you're still with me here. And I gotta say, that kind of love just makes me happy. The kind of love just gets me through. The kind of love I only get from you. And when I feel it deep inside me, I know that nothing I can do. And that's the kind of love I get from you. And that's the kind of love I get from you. And that's the kind of love I get from you.
So now we come to the time where we support this wonderful place, and we support it because this is an amazing place. It's a place you can come on Sunday and know you leave here feeling encouraged and inspired. Now you can support us in several ways. You can do it in prayer. Just envision this place full and overflowing. You can do it by volunteering. We always have volunteering opportunities, and certainly you can do it by coin. However you choose to support us, know that we're very grateful for it. And if you will take your intention and place over the heart and read with us our affirmation of prosperity. I live in a universe of abundance. As I freely and joyfully give, I join in the divine flow, and all I share with life returns to me multiplied abundantly. The ushers have stepped down. Well, thank you in advance. And Don, I know you got a great song for us.
This is for Father's Day. It's a Steve Goodman song. Oh, wait, no. Where's this? Okay, we can do this.
Yeah, sure.
I miss the old man tonight. I wish he was here with me. With his corny jokes and his cheap cigars, he could look you in the eye and sell you a car. And that's not an easy thing to do. But no one ever knew a more charming creature in this whole world than my old man. He was a pilot in the big war, in the U.S. Army Air Corps, in a C-47 with a heavy load, full of combat cargo for the Burma Road. And after they dropped the bomb, he came home and married Mom. And it wasn't long after that that he was my old man. And oh, the fights we had when my brother and I got him mad. He'd get all boiled up and he started to shout. And I knew what was coming, so I'd tune it out. And now the old man's gone, and I'd give all I own to hear what he said when I wasn't listening to my old man. Well, I miss the old man tonight. I can almost see his face. He was always trying to watch his weight, but his heart gave out at 58. And for the first time since he died, I hung my head and cried. I wondered when I was gonna do that for my old man.
Thank you, Don. That was lovely. Thank you, Kathy, and thank you. Your support is allowing us to grow and to thrive, to continue to be a beacon of love and light and inspiration. So we thank you, we bless it, we release it, knowing it does its good and perfect work, returning to us multiplied abundantly. And together we say, and so it is. Thank you, Kathy. All right, so let's conclude the service with an affirmative prayer. I'm going to do it in the first person. Take it in for yourself. If I say something that works for you, hold tight to that. If I say something that doesn't work for you, well, just let that part slide by. But just know this truth with me this morning. There's but one God and one mind and one power. That power is perfect love. It's divine intelligence. And it loved the idea of me so much that it created me from stardust so I can walk the soil of St. Augustine. And now here this morning, I am in such gratitude for all the love that I have received from my father, from my mom, from family, from friends, from strangers on the streets. I am so grateful that I've been able to attract the love to inspire and encourage me to move out into the world and to proclaim myself as the goodness of spirit, to proclaim myself as the love of God, to proclaim my world as good and joyful and wonderful, to know that I am here to live in health and love and prosperity, and spirit is unfolding it magnificently right before my eyes. So here today in this joyful place, surrounded by all these wonderful, loving souls, I now choose to know something better for myself, that I am not weak, I'm not wounded, I'm not here to be a victim. I'm a child of the glorious God of the creation. I have been called by name to be here and to live in joy and love, health and prosperity. There is no situation on earth, no condition that can overcome this flowing of God's joy in my life. And I can look out into the world and to know that I can overcome anything that mankind brings before me. So here today, I'm scared of nothing. I fear no trouble. I know that peace is mine, prosperity and health are overflowing in my life, and I can move out into the world, a joyful benefactor, giving out love, giving out encouragement, giving out inspiration. I am here to remind all of humanity, we are beloved. We are here to live in love and joy. We are here to be here so that Spirit can rain down blessings upon us. This is my truth, and every cell of my being radiates such right knowing. And I release this prayer into the mind of God to do its good and perfect, bold and dynamic work, returning to me multiplied abundantly. And together we say, and so it is. All right, my friends, I'm going to leave you with one last idea, and that is your life. Your life. It's not a problem to be solved. It's a miracle unfolding. Your job this week is to go name your miracle, proclaim your miracle, and make it your own. God bless us all. Now let us go be the miracle God is calling us to be. Until we see each other again, this is Reverend Ken wishing you many blessings.
Think of your fellow man, lend him a helping hand, put a little love in your heart. You see it's getting late, oh please don't hesitate, put a little love in your heart. And the world will be a better place, and the world will be a better place for you and me. You just wait and see. Put a little love in your heart. Oh, put a little love in your heart. You've got to put a little love in your heart. Another day goes by and still the children cry. Put a little love in your heart. If you want the world to know, don't let hatred show. Put a little love in your heart, and the world will be a better place, and the world will be a better place for you and me. You just wait and see. Come on, put a little love in your heart. You gotta put a little love in your heart. I believe me. Put a little love in your heart. Oh. Take a good look around, and if you're looking down, put a little love in your heart. I hope you will decide kindness will be your guide. Put a little love in your heart. You know the world will be a better place. Our world will be a better place for you and me. You just wait and see, and put a little love in your heart. You've got to put a little love in your heart. Oh, put a little love in gotta put a little love